Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be checking out the Roadmaster LubeMaster heavy duty RV silicone spray. So this is going to be ideal for lubricating your tow bars, which is a really important thing to do. You know, you want to make sure they're clean and properly lubricated. That way, you know, you're going to get the best performance out of them. They're going to last a lot longer, stay in better shape, and be much easier to use. You know, whenever you're doing your flat tow setup, the more streamlined it is, the easier it's going to be, you know, and having everything operate smoothly is gonna save you a little bit of time there. And a lot of times, believe it or not, we see this quite often. You know, get a lot of questions, people asking about tow bar maintenance, you know, and just like anything mechanical, you know, if you maintain it, it's going to work better. It's just like a vehicle, you know what I mean? If you neglect it, it's going to give out on you. And the same holds true for a tow bar like this. So, you know, we see them come in quite often, actually. You know, tow bars, they got a lot of miles on them. They really take a beating. They're outside and everything else. And if you don't take care of it, eventually what can happen is the arms and the mechanisms and everything else become really hard to operate. Particularly, we see a lot of the arms here will just have so much stuff caked up on it and built up on it that you can hardly slide them in and out. And then when that happens, you know, it tears up your seals and your internal components, and then you're left with a choice, you know, do I replace some of the internal components? A lot of times if you get in there, a lot of stuff's messed up, and then, you know, you end up having to get a new tow bar. So by doing a little bit of maintenance every now and again, it can really save you a lot of time and energy in the long run whenever you're ready to actually use the tow bar. So like anything, before you get to lubricating parts and everything like that, you want to make sure they're clean. And what I would suggest doing is using the Roadmaster Tow Bar cleaner here. I've tried both these products, and this tow bar cleaner works really good, believe it or not. It is really strong stuff and does a great job of getting your tow bar all shined up before you lubricate everything. So it really separates this from a lot of other you know, type of lubricants is the fact that it is a dry silicone. So what that means is when you spray it out of the can and it goes on the surface, in a matter of seconds it's going to dry. Because I know personally I would probably be tempted just to grab kind of your generic you know, off-the-shelf brand of some type of lubricant and use that for the tow bar arms. The problem is they're not a dry type of silicone. So what happens when you spray that on, spray that other type of lubricant on, it doesn't really evaporate. And when I say evaporate like this, this is going to leave behind a protective layer, okay, of lubricant. And the other ones, you spray it on there and it just stays wet. Well, the problem is with that, whenever something's wet and greasy, that actually is going to attract dust and dirt and all kinds of different things. So what's going to happen, I'm going to spray this on. Hopefully we can get a good shot of it here. But when I spray this on, you're going to see the wet part evaporate in a matter of seconds. So I'll really layer it on there, and just after a few seconds it evaporates. But if you feel it, you can feel that it's slick and that there's a film on it. So that's going to be the main difference between this and some other, you know, generic off-the-shelf type of lubricants. So I feel like we covered, you know, how this is going to work with the tow bar and everything else like that. And here in a minute, you know, I'll show you actually how to clean and properly lubricate a tow bar. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around, check that out. But with that said, though, you know, this isn't a, you know, this isn't just for tow bars. This spray has a lot of different uses. You can use it for a ton of different things. So, you know, having a can of this laying around in the RV, it's kind of just a good general purpose spray as well. You know, say if you got a squeaky step going into the door, go ahead and spray some on it. A awning that might be getting stuck or hung up a little bit, it'll work for that. You know, door hinges, A handful of our customers said they used it on their you know, their jacks underneath their camper or RV and things like that. And whether you're constantly using it and just want to keep things loosened up, or, you know, since it does leave that protective film over things, you know, I feel like this would be a good thing to break out in the winter time, just before you're going to store everything, and just kind of give, you know, those type of components a quick coating. That way, you know, they'll help be protected against the elements while it's sitting. And, you know, you're going to be able to open up your RV or whatever it is that you're doing with a little more confidence whenever the weather turns and it starts to get nice and you're ready to get out and have some fun. So at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to trying to maintain things, what you put in is what you're going to get out, you know. And if you actually do things properly and put a little bit of effort into it, you're going to be much happier in the long run. And so it really does make sense. Spend a few minutes, clean your tow bar every now and again, and you know, you'll be able to call it a day. It really doesn't take all that much time at all. So if that's something you're interested in and seeing how I did it, we'll go ahead and clean and lubricate this one together now. There is a recommended way on how to clean and lubricate your tow bar. So let's go ahead and just kind of run through this together. So I have our tow bar cleaner here. Let's give it a shake to kind of mix things up. And what I'm going to do first is just kind of spray the tow bar down, you know, give it a good coating, and I'm just spraying it on everything, you know, and we'll just give it a good wipe down to kind of get things started here. If it's real dirty, you know, you can probably let this soak for a minute or two and let things loosen up a little bit. Ours isn't too terrible, so I think we can get away with just spraying it down. Kind of tilt the tow bar up and pull the arm out to lock it down. And what we're going to do is spray in this area here. And what's going to happen is this cleaner is going to leak down into the internal part here, and that cap that we removed, you know, will allow stuff to get flushed out of the bottom. So we'll just really spray this good. I'm going to kind of cover this whole piece here. And what you can do is just work this arm in and out, and you can see just by kind of doing that one time, you know, a little more dirt is accumulating, and it's picking up dirt and kind of pushing everything out of the tow bar. So after a few times, I'm probably just going to wipe this clean. To lubricate the tow bar, I'm using our Silicone RV lube. And this is pretty straightforward here. We're just gonna spray down all of our moving parts. So I just spread the tow bar across here. And like I said, pretty straightforward. Anything that pivots or moves, we'll go ahead and give a shot of our lube. And not a bad idea just to, you know, kind of actually move it around, really get that silicone into all of these components. So that one feels pretty good. What I'll probably do here is move on to our arms and everything else here. So with these, kind of the same deal. I'm going to spray down into here. And just move this in and out. Just continue around our tow bar to all of our components here. Get into the lock mechanisms and everywhere else. You're really not going to hurt anything, so you know, don't be shy with this. So this also works for your base plate pens. Now we don't have a Roadmaster base plate, but same concept. And whenever you clean these, what it's going to do is help protect it from corrosion and just make it easier to operate. You know, these are new, so you know they're pretty smooth right now, but what you want to do is make sure they're clean. And essentially the same deal here. By spraying on the lubricant, what it's going to do is create a little barrier there, and that's going to help protect it from corrosion and things like that. So honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably a really good thing we're doing this with brand new pens. That way they're protected, and you know, we're not going to have to try to fight them in the future and do this down the road. So you know, every now and again probably good to do, but doing it now when they're new will ensure they stay just like new. So after you hit these, you know, let them dry for a second. This stuff dries really fast. Matter of fact, it looks like it's dry right now. Just go ahead and make sure they operate smoothly, which indeed they do. Now that we have everything cleaned and lubricated properly, we're ready to hook up and hit the road. Or we do recommend doing this before the off season. You know, that way you got everything clean, lubed, ready to go for next year. Once you take your motor home and everything else out of storage, you're gonna have some confidence knowing that your tow bar will be ready to roll. And that'll finish up our look at of the Roadmaster LubeMaster RV silicone spray.